If you're doing under 30 million, you're probably above a million, probably anywhere up from there. Here's the thing. If you've been listening to us, you know you have operational drag. You know that things could be done better, faster, less manual, all that stuff. And you know you could automate, but you don't. And you don't do it because you don't know which one to start with.
And with that, we're back with another episode of BizMeds. We're your hosts and neuroscience business coaches. My name is Saad.
And my name is Darris, and we're here to give you the minimum effective dose to scale your business. And you've got double white shirts today, mixing it up for today, because we're diving into, you have operational drag, you know about automation, but it's which one? How do you know which one to start with? And let's just revisit the AIM framework, which is the foundational framework that I think is the most important to learn, and it gives you a solid basis for knowing where to start and how to start. Mm-hmm. So with that, it's all in the name, automation, right? Like that's the first and foremost. So is that, the automation part, and then the other two is the insight and mastery. Yeah. So we want to separate the things that are one, first and foremost. What's the first rule? What does Elon Musk say?
Oh, should it exist? And should it be automated? If it's garbage, don't automate it.
Exactly. So that's the whole point. It's just because it does exist doesn't mean we should be doing it. Mm-hmm. So is it a process? We walk through the process of how to automate something and going through the process. It's in that when you kind of like deconstruct everything, does the process even need to exist? And sometimes we don't even question it. We've always done it this way. If it shouldn't exist, we're going to scrap it. We don't need it. We're not going to have it. Number two, how to tell if you should be automating something. Is it data heavy? Is it repetitive? Like here's a really easy one. If you're using a lot of Excel spreadsheets, if you're doing a lot of copying, pasting, right? Yep. Those are prime ripe for, should it be automated? Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Yep. There's a lot of rules involved. So it's like, oh, well, when this is this, then do this. Like those types of things are also, they feel like they are really important and someone should remember them, but we need to extract that and put them in a rule base somewhere that we can use as automation rules.
Yeah.
Okay. And like we said, if it requires insight or that human touch, then we don't want to touch it. That's really the key to that. In your experience, like where do you start? Like where do you see or where have you, with all the clients you've been working with and all that stuff, like where do you see an easy kind of point your finger at, oh, that's going to be ripe for automation versus like, oh, continue doing the same thing. Like, where have you seen that?
Well, typically it comes down to any time when it is the same repetitive task, as you were mentioning. Like if every month you're doing the exact same thing every single time, there's an opportunity to automate that. And it sounds as simple as it does, but when most people are working and they're doing it, they feel like they have to touch it and be involved in that automated, the repetitive process that adds the value.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely not true.
I mean, it's one of those fallacies of belief where, see it all the time. It's like, oh, I need to see it and touch it. I think you told a story before where someone was basically
an old client.
Yeah. Waiting to see this data, and they had to see it. And they rarely ever, said no or approved it, but had to look at it just to give it the okay when it was the exact same thing passing all the way through. Mm-hmm. And you're like, hey, we can automate this. They're like, oh no, I have to make sure it's okay. I'm like,
no, I need to keep the human in that loop there.
Yeah.
Like in the middle. Well, why don't you just put the human at the end that can like review it and send it over? And after 3 months, if you've never found any issues, just remove the human altogether. You don't need the human in there. Put the human in somewhere better.
Yeah, where the human effort and insight is really important, right? If we're like, what's the judgment you need to make off of something? It's the, why is this important, or what do I need to do differently? Like that's that, am I building a relationship? Free them up to do better, more important work. I don't think anyone went to school. Mostly, I'm not gonna say anyone ever. But most of us, if we're running a business, we're not hiring people to copy and paste and move things around.
Yep.
Right. And so it's from a business standpoint, it's creating leverage in the right way. We want to help you understand kind of where to prioritize. I think the next part is really the third part of knowing, okay, we've identified these things. I think it's important like to go through a lot of your processes or a lot of things and say, okay, where does that fit the bill? Where are we doing a lot of like, I'm moving this from this, I'm using Excel, I'm copying, pasting, I'm doing these repetitive tasks. Getting a list of those is going to be really important. That's kind of like the first step. And then it's, well, how do you quantify? Like, how do you prioritize? How do you know which one of those is going to be the most important one to go after? And so this is where we want to compute your operational drag cost. So very simple. I mean, this is a very rudimentary, but very, I think, easy formula. It's not complicated. It's really around, it's the frequency. So how many times does this happen? Times the time per occurrence, and then times your labor rate. So if you think about it, let's just say, I'll say this because one of our clients going through the exact same process where the finance / bookkeeper, all that stuff. Let's just say on average a week, it's 6 hours to manually reconcile invoicing, right? So 6 hours times 52 weeks, because that's done 52 weeks a year. That's about 312 hours per year. So like, doesn't sound like a lot, but when you say conservatively, if you're paying them, not crazy, but let's just say $45 an hour, but that's fully loaded. So that's all your benefits and everything, right? Like fully loaded cost. When you multiply that out, so that 312 times the 45, like that's about $14,000 a year. Again, doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're paying them $50,000, $60,000, like $14,000 for one task, like one task of every week, like 6 hours is almost one full day every week just for one task. And if you start to like do that across all of your processes, you can start to say, oh, well, which one is taking me the most time? Which one is costing me the most to do that? And you can get a really good indication of where you probably should start automating.
Yeah.
And then I guess there's just so many examples of that.
Yeah. Yeah. I immediately to my mind, like it comes to about how most people will hire the cheap resource to get them to do this work, but they don't realize that, and I was making this joke with somebody recently. Is like, hey, if you got a Claude license, it would cost you about $30 Canadian a month, or 20 USD a month.
Yep.
And you have somebody doing the same repetitive task, like that takes them 6 hours a week, and then you kind of break it down the way you did, and it's like $14,000 a year. If you get that repetitive task automated through a skill within Claude, that's $20 a month for 12 months. You've saved a lot of money, and you've removed the human from the loop doing the non-value added task.
Yeah.
What can you do with that human now? And this is kind of where the drag comes for most people, is they're like, oh, well, Cheryl's been doing this for 15 years. I just want her to keep doing this and retire into the sunset doing the same tasks. Like, Cheryl died like 15 years ago when she started doing this fucking job. Like she lost her motivation and like purpose 15 years ago. Give her some purpose. Give her some reason. Give her some reason to
Cheryl's
grow
just a
her.
zombie now. It's just a meat carcass pushing buttons.
Give Cheryl like a purpose to her life and her meaning. Like help her grow herself. Like as humans, we're designed to obviously want the next thing and the thing. So
Well, most of us are.
Yeah, I know.
Some of us are wired that way. Cheryl, sorry, Cheryl, you were not cut out for this world.
But yeah, that's the thing that comes to my mind immediately when I think about that, because again, we live in a world now where the art of the possible, that the things that we thought about is now doable.
Yeah.
So it is no longer like, oh, I can't wait until we live in a world where we can do this. Well, shit, we can do it today.
Yeah.
Like, we really can.
Yeah. I mean, you brought up a really good point around, like, most business owners, they then hire because of that workload. Oh, the workload's high, so I'm going to hire someone.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to pay them to what? Do more manual process instead of solving the underlying problem, right? And that becomes more operational drag. Your communication, lines of communication don't get more simple, they get more complex. You have potentially more people issues. You're probably not doing a good job of hiring anyway. So you brought on someone who's not great and to do more of this. And what do? They just create more and more issues, right? And the work just ends up bloating.
Yep.
And so as a result, like you do the best you can with what you have. And so what we've seen is there's like usually on a low side, like $100,000 to $200,000 a year just in operational drag costs, not including time, that we can save organizations just by diving into like that very simple process. And it's usually a lot more, right? And sometimes it's as simple as, automation doesn't always mean AI, but sometimes it might be a cloud skill that you can spend $20 a month on US to then get the same output or even more. And in which case your ROI is phenomenally high. Sometimes it's, understanding what tools and environment you already have set up and reorganizing that to maybe use different types of automation to make that happen, right? Depending on the complexity of the situation. So that there's a whole breadth of solutions that exist in that world. And if you don't know, you don't know. And that leads us into kind of like why business owners don't automate, when it's like, well, you don't know how, which is probably the biggest drive that we've seen, is that you don't know how to automate, or you don't know what solutions to bring in because you don't know what's possible. Yeah. And so it's very hard to see beyond what you don't know is possible, which is what our role is, to help you see the art of possible. Right. You touched on the other one around that whole, like the neuroscience of it, that cognitive bias. You want to talk more about that one?
Remind me what I was saying.
So yeah, you were talking about, it just feels like I need to touch it. I need to feel it. It feels safe. And
it's funny because, people associate value to the task instead of to the knowledge and the experience
and the output
Yeah. So, I don't know what it is. It's like, as humans, we're just designed, or I don't know if it's a design or if it's a flaw, because you're just kind of stuck in this weird loop where you're like, well, this is the thing I need to own now, and this is what I'm going to do to bring in value. And you can't take a step back most people can't take a step back to really analyze that and find the insights in it, that, hey, I could actually do something more, own the process instead of being involved in the doing of it.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this. Some people are just meant to be doers.
Yeah. Like there's some people who just, and that's what it is. But if you're looking to scale, you're looking to do more, there was an episode we talked about, it's orchestrators, right? Bringing in orchestrators versus a role. And most people now are still hiring like archaically, like they're stuck in 1982, and you have a role and they must fit this role. And that's not the most important part of it. Is if you want to scale, you need people to think beyond, or you have to start looking for those skills and people who are able to step back and see the bigger picture for what it is and look at orchestrating across all of those things versus, I do this thing in this box and that's all I ever do. And that's all I ever think about is this spreadsheet is my life. Like my whole existence is to manage this one spreadsheet or these two spreadsheets. And I copy this from here and I take this and I put it over here. and then I email or I save it to a folder somewhere and no one ever fucking looks at it.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah, and there's no trending it, and there's no historical capturing. It's just like a bunch of folders within a bunch of folders that are just tossed somewhere random, and then after 4 years you delete them all. It's like,
yeah. Oh, we ran out of space, so it's got to make some room. And it's like, why are we even doing this?
yeah, what the hell is the point of this? Yeah.
And then the other part of it is like why you're not automating is one, you don't know where to start. So hopefully what we did today was give you a starting point, at least to say, okay, well, I know I have operational drag. I heard about automation. I would love to automate. Like, these are things. So we gave you a framework as which to kind of like relate it back to and say, okay, what things do you automate? Well, it's a repetitive, data heavy thing, you know, all those things. Give you some really good ideas of where to start looking, listing those out. And then here, how do you quantify that? Very simple math. It's not crazy, but that'll start to give you understanding of, okay, which of these is going to give you the biggest reward, right? And then it's, okay, that's how you solve the I don't know where to start right there.
Yeah.
And it'll probably, at least that will give you the awareness, because then you can start saying, oh, okay, well, if I have these things, well, then what would solve that? What could solve that?
Yeah. The only other thing I wanted to really add here is that we're gonna keep saying this time and time again. This podcast is not for the person that is doing that task. These are conversations for the business owner.
Yes.
And as the business owner and the entrepreneur, like, your job is to identify that and then deal with that people problem. Go in there and have that tough conversation and get Cheryl to start doing something different. And if she can't, then you're not doing her any service or your business any service.
Yeah.
And if you're okay letting Cheryl do that for the rest of, like, whatever she rides out into the sunset, like, that's fine. But don't be surprised if your business is not growing at the scale you want it to.
Yeah. There has to be some level of accountability. And you can't say, well, I want to grow and I want to do these things, but I'm going to continue doing the same thing over and over. Like, they just don't work. They don't go together.
Yeah.
And so you're absolutely right. There has to be a level of accountability and performance that's there. And, you know, there is also responsibility on the person doing the work to bring the desire to want to grow and learn. And if you're not, like, if that's the kind of company you want to run and people aren't doing that, then you're probably fostering that. Like, you're creating that environment.
Yeah.
And you have to make a decision. Are you okay, like, actually making that decision? And if that is the case, like, this is how you start to solve constraints.
Yeah.
Like, this is how you remove, like, a massive amount of constraint, because by doing this, right? Like, just that bookkeeper example, 6 hours a week, you know, $14,000 a year. That's a significant chunk that person now can do the work that they should be doing, which is not manually reconciling invoices. It's here's the couple that are off. Why? Are we making mistakes in our process? Are we, like, what's happening? Fix that. Oh, what's all this telling you? Oh, what is our cash collections cycle? Oh, are we net 60? Should we be doing net 30? Should we do net 14? Like, what are the so what and what are the solutions you bring now as your expertise in your finance and stuff like that, versus, I'm going to stress myself out because I'm now, like, creating this, building a manual Excel file every fucking week, doing the same thing over and over. That's not value add. That's not what that role is. That's not the purpose and the value that it creates. There's no value in creating a manual fucking Excel sheet every week just to make sure your invoices are correct. Like, you can have that done literally in 30 seconds by automating that.
Yeah. You said something in there that sparked a memory of somebody smart once said to me that if every month, if you're an employee, if every month you expect money in your account and on a certain day every single week, is it also fair for me as a business owner to expect the results that I'm paying you for on those days every single week? And I kind of, like, butchered his saying a little bit, but it was just basically like, if I pay you for a service, I expect the service to be done.
Yeah.
And if I don't get that result, should I actually be paying you? Right. So it's a fair like comment from a business owner's
Yeah.
perspective, and and ask from a business owner. So I think the businesses that utilize that mentality are the ones that you're seeing are being successful today.
If you're a cheap ass,
Mhm.
if you're unwilling to have hard conversations, if you're unwilling to lead yourself, if you're unwilling to stand in the heat, and if you're unwilling to do then this is not for you. Like, this is obvious.
Mhm.
This podcast, none of this is for you, because you will make an excuse as to why you're a special snowflake, you're certain special circumstances that only you in the world have gone through, and whatever fuck else, whatever bullshit story you tell yourself.
Mhm.
That's what it is. And that's okay. You will always forever be that loser. Like, you will lose, and not saying like you're a loser. I'm like, you're a loser in that you will always lose,
Yep.
because you've set yourself up to lose.
Mhm.
And the ones that make the decisions, that do the hard things, and this is not easy. I mean, it's easy in theory,
Mhm.
simple. It is simple, but not easy.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have the guidance and you know how you can make that happen, then we can make it happen faster.
Exactly.
And so if you are also wondering, like, well, how do I know what kind of drag, or how much does it cost me to have the operational drag in my company? Well, then you guys are in luck, because we're actually in development of our operational drag calculator, where you can put that in and know exactly how much operational drag is costing you. So drop us a DM, send us a message, drop a comment. And by doing that, we'll know that you want early access when it's ready to go.
Exactly.
All right. With that, everyone, this episode, we are your neuroscience business coaches. My name is Darris,
And I'm Saad.
and
Sorry, Cheryl. Keep doing
Cheryl,
what you're doing.
we are not sorry. We are not sorry, Cheryl. You need to do better. You need to be better and do better. So with that, we hopefully gave you, we know we gave you the minimum effective dose today of knowing which thing to automate first,
Mhm.
right? We gave you a very simple frameworks of do that, and how to calculate it, and where to prioritize those, and the importance of that, why it is, and why you start, and how to start. There's no excuse, really.
Mhm.
So with that, I want to thank everyone who's been along with us for the ride. I cannot speak at the end of this. I've done all my speaking for today. I'm just losing it. Guess it happens when we both wear white shirts.
Yeah, exactly.
Losing
And also having a long day.
of literally solving
Like
all of
all
these
these
problems
and then,
all the time. But it's worth it. And so I wouldn't trade any of it. So look for that. Like we said, drop a comment, DM us, whatever, get a hold of us, and we'll make sure you have early access to that calculator. And we just thank you. We just thank you for being on this ride with us. We were, like you said, we're celebrating 2 years of doing this thing. And not once have we had a guest on this fucking show. Why? Because we're not bringing you bullshit.
Mhm.
We don't want someone who just kind of messages out of the blue and be like, hey, we want to be on your podcast, who's never actually paid attention to what we do and who we serve. And they're just trying to grow their audience. We don't fucking care about that. We care about giving you guys great fucking shit that works and cutting through all that garbage. So with that, thank you. Thank you for believing us. Thank you for staying with us. So remember, you're just one day away from the life you've always dreamed about. We're going to see you in the next episode.